A billionaire handed his unlimited credit card to a beggar girl and walked away. No rules, no limits, no supervision. 1 hour later, his phone buzzed. What she bought wasn't food, it wasn't clothes, it wasn't shelter. It was something that completely shattered everything he believed about poor people. And in that moment, his life changed forever. Brennan Ashford was a man who trusted numbers, not people. At 37, he was the CEO of Ashford Global Industries, a pharmaceutical empire worth more than $11 billion. His life was built on precision, control, and predictability. Glass walls, private elevators, guarded entrances, and silence that money buys when it wants to be alone. He lived in a penthouse overlooking Boston Harbor, surrounded by expensive art he never really looked at and views he barely noticed anymore. Everything around him was valuable. Nothing around him felt meaningful. His father had raised him on one brutal belief: the poor will take everything you give them and still ask for more. Brennan never questioned it. Charity to him was a tax strategy. Kindness was a liability. Trust was weakness dressed as optimism. Until one freezing January morning changed everything. Late for an emergency board meeting, Brennan rushed through Back Bay Station, his phone buzzing non-stop with messages from investors and lawyers. He barely noticed the crowd until something made him stop. A young woman sat against the cold subway wall. Her coat was thin. Her hands were cracked from the cold. In her lap, a little black girl slept, curled tightly as if holding on was the only thing keeping her safe. A donated coat, far too big, covered her like a blanket. The woman's arms were wrapped around her daughter, not loosely, but protectively, like the world might try to take her away at any second. Beside them lay a piece of cardboard. Single mother, lost our home. Anything helps. Brennan stopped walking, not because he planned to help, but because something felt wrong. When the woman looked up, she didn't beg, she apologized. "I'm sorry," she said quietly. "We'll move if we're in the way." That apology hit Brennan harder than any business loss ever had. She wasn't asking for help, she was apologizing for existing. Her name was Sutton. Her daughter, Indy, had just turned 6. 5 months homeless, 5 months of subway floors, shelters, and waiting rooms, 5 months of people looking past them. Brennan reached into his wallet. Sutton expected a few dollars, maybe 20, maybe spare change. Instead, he pulled out a black platinum credit card. "No limit," he said calmly. "Use it for 24 hours. Buy whatever you want." Sutton froze. "This has to be a trick," she whispered. "It's a test," Brennan admitted. "I want to see what someone with nothing does when given everything." Against every instinct she had, Sutton took the card. Her hands trembled as she closed her fingers around it, like she expected it to disappear. That night, Brennan didn't sleep. He stared at his phone, watching the account. Midnight passed. Nothing. 1 a.m. Still nothing. 2 a.m. Still nothing. Then 6:23 a.m. Transaction $37.84. CVS. Then another $52.19. Target. Then another $28.63. Dunkin' Donuts. Brennan's chest tightened. This wasn't reckless spending. This wasn't luxury. This was careful, intentional. She was buying necessities, and Brennan needed to see her again. When he returned to the station, Sutton was waiting, but everything had changed. Indy was awake now, wearing a brand new purple winter coat. Her hair was neatly brushed, held back with a small clip. She hugged a stuffed elephant like it was priceless, smiling shyly as she colored in a fresh book. Sutton stood up quickly and handed Brennan the receipts with shaking hands. Every item was for her daughter: a winter coat, boots, socks, medicine, school supplies. Nothing for herself. Then Brennan saw the last line: shelter donation, $100. His breath caught. "You donated money?" he asked. Sutton nodded, embarrassed. "They helped us when they could. I thought if I had extra, even for one day, maybe I could help someone else." In that moment, Brennan felt something unfamiliar: shame. This woman had unlimited money for one day and chose responsibility, generosity, and love. She didn't escape, she didn't indulge, she didn't disappear. She gave. Everything his father had taught him was wrong. That night, Brennan paid for a hotel, then an apartment, then schooling, then job training. Not charity, an investment in someone who proved she deserved trust. Months later, Sutton rebuilt her life. Indy thrived, and Brennan learned something wealth had never taught him before. Money doesn't reveal greed, it reveals character. That credit card test didn't expose a beggar girl, it exposed a billionaire, and reminded him that sometimes the richest hearts belong to those with nothing.